Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. So I've got something kind of interesting I want to try today. Basically this is a Tractor Supply beehive kit. This is what you need basically to make a home for bees. Say you want to get into beekeeping. Obviously the first thing you're going to need is safety gear. Second thing you're going to need is a place to put your bees. So I have an opportunity. I've been trying now for a while to get some bees, more bees. They've been slow to come around. So we have some available. I'm probably going to pick up between 2 and 4 colonies. They're called nukes next week, late next week. I'm a little short on boxes. I have enough, but I wanted another bottom box, and more or less just as an experiment. So I'm building my own boxes, and I will be selling them soon. But you know, I'm doing research essentially. I like to see what other people have to offer, what other boxes look like, how they perform, what kind of finish they have. And since I'm getting bees, I thought this would be a really cool experiment. So what I'm going to do is get my 4 colonies, my 4 nukes, 2 to 4, whatever I'm getting. I'm going to put one in this, put one in my own, and then there's another company that I'm going to be a vendor for, wholesale, selling feeders and stuff, and I'm going to ask them if they would like to participate. I bought this with my own money. I reached out to Tractor Supply and told them what I'm doing. I said, if y'all want to be involved, fine. If not, fine. I don't care. I asked them if they would like to supply a couple of more of just these boxes for the future. As the plan is to start it and go 2 full years. I'll do weekly updates like I'm already doing, and I'll just incorporate these in to my new bee yard at Masaritown Winery. Nothing crazy, nothing special. And I'm not looking to slam Tractor Supply or these products. I'm not looking to promote my products necessarily. I'm just basically trying to show that if you want to get into beekeeping, help save the bees, make some honey, possibly make some money on the side, you know, sell, you know, a pound of honey can sell for 10 to 18 bucks depending on what you got, where you're at. It's basically just an educational thing, and it's a comparison. I'm sure this will have issues, mine will have issues, and the other company will all have their own special set of issues. I don't anticipate any real problems with any of this. Having said that, I'm kind of curious where this stuff is made. It comes from Harvest Lane in Utah, but where the product is actually made, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking China, but I can't find anything on the outside of the boxes to say for sure. So let's take a look at these and see what we got. This is basically a copy of the one that I'm going to be selling, Motherlode products, made in the USA. Got some ladders, they're called, so the bees can get down to the water and back. Snap that on. Fairly heavy plastic. Looks decent. So these you'd only need part of the time, like when there's no flow. You'd probably be feeding the bees when you're over winter, especially when you get a new nuke or a colony. If you don't have a heavy flow going, you may want to add some sugar water just so they have plenty to eat while they're getting started. So that doesn't too bad. This is called an inner cover or an escape. What this does is when you put your top on the cover, when you put your cover on, you squish less bees. It gives them a little more space. I've done some research, and there's a thing called bee space, and it's approximately 8 millimeters. That is their desired gap that they like to be in. Huh? Interesting. Now see, this is why I buy these, because I never actually thought about using a dado like that to capture the frame. I was using a rabbit on mine. So yeah, it's interesting. This is Varroa plywood, which looks like a poplar layer. It'll work. Alright, let's check this. This is the called the telescoping cover, top, whatever. I'm not sure why they call them telescoping cover, to be honest. I've never really researched it, but they don't telescope. So. Okay, That appears to be pine, and that's galvanized steel. It has some copper plated staples. They're not copper staples, they're plated because I can see the steel through them. May not even be plated, it might actually just be a resin covered staple. Some of the wood is exposed right there, but I suspect this will last a while. So one of the concerns I have, and the reason I haven't pursued purchasing these in mass or building these in mass, is galvanizing is a light color, no question about it, and it does reflect, but it is not cool. This white and this in the sun, you'll put your hand here, this will feel hot, and this never will because it's white. If I were to paint this white, the temperature would drop, but that's something I want to see. I want to see this side by side to another. Doesn't matter, because without question, this is tough. This will last for decades, this galvanized steel, and as long as it doesn't hurt the hive, outstanding. Florida, we're hot, really hot, lots and lots of sun most of the year, so heat can become too much of an issue. In the northern climates, you know, they have a little bit of summer, but then you've got a lot of off time, so that extra heat doesn't hurt them at all. So on my hives, I'm using EPDM rubber, which is white. That's what I'm using so far. So yeah, this is okay. Anytime, you know, a factory builds these big things, they can make them nice and square and stuff cheaply. I would be curious to know where the wood comes from. Just kind of curiosity. The wood I'm sourcing currently comes from a sawmill just about a half hour away, and he's closing down in July, so we have purchased one of his kilns. It's a smaller kiln, like 1,100 board feet, and we'll be setting that up here on the farm eventually. And so all my trees are coming within basically an hour from here, and they're so this is the first thing I saw, was this right here. And that most likely is from wood that wasn't properly dried before it was assembled, most likely. Which is interesting. When you do joinery or cabinetry type work like this, it's important the wood be a certain moisture level, because it moves a lot. That's a little disappointing. This will not affect the bees living in there, but what this will affect is the longevity of the hive. Moisture can get right into the fibers of the wood. Insects, mold, things like that can all get into that wood. So that's interesting. They got 10. Oh wow. Here's the foundations. That's interesting. They've stapled these through the side. I would have never thought to do that either, and I probably won't. You can see right here, that's split out. I'll show you this here real quick. You can see where that staple goes in, and you see how this is split right here? This is what holds the weight. When I take this out, and this is full of brood and resources and honey, this can weigh multiple pounds, 5-6 pounds possibly, 4 or 5 pounds, pretty easy. I had my bees put a whole pound in 1 week on one of these things. But you see how the staple's high? So this top leg of the staple is actually out, missed it all together, and this lower leg has actually split this. So I could probably pull that out. This one's more centered. It's correct. So it'll be holding all the weight. That's interesting. I staple mine through the top and through the bottom with glue. These do not have glue. And there is not much wax on there. I can definitely feel some. It doesn't smell like beeswax either. That's a little concerning. The acorn frames that I use are American made and American sourced beeswax guaranteed. And they almost have it's a strong smell. When I put them in the car or in a room, they you can really smell almost this, it'll almost burn your nose. The wax smell is so strong. So I would definitely call that an inexpensive frame. Not saying it won't work, because it most definitely will. I would have culled that piece probably, but with care it'll last. That one's a little more solid. Check a couple more of these just for fun. Yeah, we got staple positioning issues here. So this top leg is, get that with a camera, that top leg has basically missed it. There again, they're good here, coming out the side. That splintered that off. There's a few drops of wax on that one. These look like they just have one coat of, I do not smell any beeswax. If you're a beekeeper, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of smooth. So when you put bees in, you can't just dump them into this box right here and say, okay, enjoy yourself, because they may not stay. So your nuke will come with generally 5 frames or 3 frames with a feeder in it, just depending on who you get them from. I believe the people I'm getting mine from will include 5 frames, and so that would basically be a half of a box. And the boxes, they'll come, I have a small, like half-size box, and it'll come with a couple frames of resources and a couple frames of brood, which are babies. It'll be like capped brood, and they'll feel comfortable in that, because that's where they've got their home. And the bees will pull this out, will draw the comb out and make each of these cells deep, and that's where they'll put their babies in. They put their food in, they put pollen in. You know, it's just kind of their closet, so to speak, to keep things in. I'd probably not use that one either, but yeah, okay. Let's take a look at the boxes. Finger joints. I'm not a big fan of the finger box joint. I mean, it's an okay joint, but the problem is making them is a real bear. I also use bars on mine for the handle, so I'm kind of intrigued to try these, and that's another reason I want to try this. It's not so much to slam Tractor Supply or these or any other brand, it's just to kind of see what the others are like and compare them side by side with a new beekeeper, just to see what they do, how they perform. Because these scallops here, you know, I don't use these would be hard for me to cut. I could cut something like this without too much trouble, but I'd rather not. So I use a bar across this end of mine, a wood bar, and so far I love it, but I'm not a big commercial guy. I don't mind if mine have a little extra space. I also have carpal tunnel and arthritis, so I'm kind of curious how this will affect me. I've never really used them. Let me take that back. I've never used this. I've inspected a couple, so it'll just be a good experience to learn. I'm kind of intrigued about that crack. Oh, you bums. So let's take a look at this. Oh, I see what they've done. Okay. So basically, that is a giant knot. Looks like they've... Not sure what that is. Maybe a glue spill or something. I'm not really sure. You can see the pitch. It's been thermally set. It's definitely been killing dried hard. Huh. And you see these big knots here. And there's a little stress split right there. So what the bees are going to do here, they'll come in and fill this in, probably with this glue that they make, this propolis. And if there's any drafts or anything that comes through, they'll stop it with that on their own, basically. The only drawback is going to be moisture coming into this little separation here. I could paint it, but I'm not. This is ready to go out of the box, and this is how I want to use it. I mean, if I thought it was going to last 6 months, I'd do something with it, but I'm just curious to see, because when I get wood, and I get knots like this as well, and I don't use them, what I would do is pull this piece out, and I would, like these strips here on the frames, these are just 1/2 inch square. So I would use all the wood above and all the wood below, and then not use this. But having said that, it's still it's wood, so we'll give it a try and see how it lasts. And like I said, so these foundations here are not, you can't just put bees on these. They'll need, may need some drawn comb and stuff to make a home out of it. And so when I get the nuke, I'm going to have them put, I'm going to get 3 of them, or 2 of them going to be actually in small nukes, and I'm going to put 2 in full-size boxes. And again, that's another experiment. I want to see, this is all documented before, this is just helping me see, I want to see how the bees develop in a 5-frame nuke versus a 10-frame nuke into a full-fledged colony. You can read about it online, you can read books about it, there's just millions and millions of really high-quality words written about it, and probably millions of videos about it. But at some point you got to get your hands dirty, you got to get stung, you got to get a splinter in your hand and just, you know, experience it. So that's what I'm doing. You see videos that say you got to start with the nuke. I see them, oh, it's best to start with the full size, and I see videos that say it doesn't really matter. So my guess is it's probably somewhere in between. So that's the plan here. I will take half of these frames out when they give me the nuke, and I will set them aside. And then whenever I set a second box on there, I will attempt to use these 5 frames back in that top box, unless Tractor Supply wants to chip in a little. But no, I'll probably buy another one of these boxes. It's like 69 bucks, I think, for this, just this with these frames, which is pretty reasonable price. It's not bad. I can build them cheaper, but I'm building more than one. If I went to Lowe's and built this, it wouldn't be much cheaper, if any, by the time you bought all the stuff to do it, whatever. But this is a reasonably priced box, and that's another big draw to this is, you know, not everybody wants to spend a lot of money on it. So I thought I'd ordered a bottom. So I'll show you this top real quick. I'd ordered a screen bottom, but apparently they were out. So I'm going to attempt to source one, and that's the one they sell for the bottom. They just didn't have one in stock. So I'm probably going to order one online and have it shipped to me. And that way I can have the entire system. Plus, I have one other screen bottom that is borrowed from my bee buddy. I'm using it now on my Madman hive. And it's best to move colonies with the screen bottom, so I'm going to take that one from the Madman and bring it, and then get another screen bottom for these 2. And I'm going to modify the bottoms of 2 of my nukes to put some screens in for ventilation. It's not terribly hot right now, but it's going to be 89 degrees in about 5 days. So I got to make sure that can have airflow, and I'll set a fan next to them when I move. But anyhow, this is what this looks like from the top side. I'll show you the bottom on the next video, I guess. So this will sit right on top of that. And so that way when you open this up, the theory is the bees will have plenty of room between here and here. And it also gives you a chance you can puff a little smoke in there when you raise it up if you need to, or when you're closing it as well. But so, again, this is one of these things. Some people say it's critical to have these. Some people say it's not. Some people say little hole, big hole, you know, who knows. So I will attempt to have maybe one of the hives without an inner cover, maybe one with a small hole, maybe one with a bigger hole. And just, you know, see if anything pops up over the course of 2 years. And the reason for the 2-year time frame. So when you do bees, it's a slow process. Just like any family, you know, they got to build. So I'll get the nuke, we'll put them in here, and then over the course of this year and this summer, they'll catch a couple of major flows here in Florida, and they should have a chance to, you know, fill out, get their numbers, and I'll add a second box for brood. So there'll be just 2 boxes of just brood. Probably by spring, next spring, that's probably where we'll be with this, is 2 full boxes of brood in a really strong colony. So then this time in 1 year from now, as like we're just getting ready to start with the major flow, then we'll have 1 full season with 2 major flows and multiple minor flows throughout the year. And we'll see how much honey we can make out of 1 box at the winery. And that's one of the reasons I like the idea of having 4 of them side by side with 4 essentially different setups, or at least 3 different setups at this current thought process, just to see, does a metal roof may not make as much foundation? Will I find out that these frames they don't pull them out very well, or they don't like them even, possibly? Just be a lot of stuff to learn from this. And for me, as a builder, I'll learn, is this system here a good idea for these inner covers? Because this is really quick and easy to build. I can see why they chose this process. You just mill all this in a chunk. And I kind of like this joint. This is interesting. So it's all a learning process. That's one of the reasons I got into bees, is because it's just fun to learn stuff, and there's a lot to learn here. So anyway, call this part 1. Well, let me show you this one more time. I want to assemble this, but I didn't show where this goes. I'm assuming you're probably a new beekeeper if you're watching this, or you're an old beekeeper looking to make fun of me, which is okay too. So they sit like so. Oh wow, that's almost too short. So I'll snap this in. I'll make sure I assemble it right. This is called a ladder, and this is so that the bees can walk down to the water and then walk out and not drown. They're pretty prone to getting caught up in the water. And especially in sugar water, the sides can actually get kind of sticky and gummy. I've seen the bees actually have to pull to get off of it. So that'll sit there, and basically just give up a frame, and then they can come inside the hive and eat and do the things. So. But anywho, that's my plan, and this is hopefully the first video of a series that's going to last for 2 years. And it should culminate with a nice big fat harvest of honey. And then possibly I'll extend the series to show selling that honey at local farmers markets, possibly at the Tractor Supply, where I got this in Bushnell, Florida. They have a little farm swap and swap meet. Maybe I'll go back there and sell the honey there, where I picked up this hive from. It's kind of something fun to do. So that's my plan. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Feel free to reach out with any suggestions or criticisms or whatever. I've got pretty thick skin. I like to hear it. So thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one.